Hello, I'm back again. And tonight, I will discuss about the lesson 4.2, the preparation of a statement of cash flows. So I'll already discuss about the statement of cash flows, which which is identifying the cash in and cash out of every uh, operating, uh, investing, and financing activities. I also discuss about the operating activities, which is about the day-to-day uh, activities, and the financing activities, which is about new investment or withdrawals, and also the investing activities, which listed under it are cash transactions, which is purchasing and selling the non-current assets. So, in preparing of the statement of cash flows, we have two methods. The direct method and the indirect method. So first we have the direct method. Direct method uses actual cash flows from the company's operations to prepare the statement of cash flow. Uses the cash receipts and cash disbursement from business activities. So indirect method, anhi na lista ang mga actual nga cash flows. Ani na lista og bisan nagikan ng kwartaha og giasa ng kwartaha. Nalista ang manayang cash receipt og mga cash disbursement from business activities. So in direct method, first you have to determine activities which cause increases or decreases in cash assets. So una i-determine jud nimo og unsa nga mga activities ang nakapa-increase or nagpa-decrease sa imong cash asset. And next, you have to sort this into appropriate categories, whether it's operating, investing, or financing. So, i-categorize nimo sila if nabilong ba na sa operating, investing, or financing. Then you have to determine how the cash asset was affected. So, here you have to determine if your cash asset was increased or decreased. And next, you have to add or subtract the net increase or decrease from the beginning balance. So, i-minus nimo or i-add nimo ang mga net increase or decrease sa imong from the beginning balance or kinunhan pa nga balance nimo. And lastly, you will have the ending balance. So indirect method, it comprises of two key categorized from cash receipts and cash payments. So na ay two key ang direct method, ang cash receipts o ang cash payments. So ang cash receipts is a written recognition of the amount of money received during a transaction that involved the transfer of money or money equivalents. So from the word cash receipts, so imong mga nadawat nga kwarta. While ang cash payments, a banknote or coin given to the provider of the recipient of goods or services. So ang cash payments is mao ni ang mga bayron na nimo nga gamit ang cash. So we have here an example of preparing an SCF using the direct method. So we have here an example situation that uses the direct method. So Kyra started a wedding and events planning business, Blue Wedding and Premises in February 2019. During the first quarter of the year, the entity had the following transactions. So these are the transactions. Kindly take a look. Okay. There are 9 transactions. And now, let me show you the statement of cash flows. So this is the statement of cash flows. So same rapid sila sa statement of financial position. Naa ang name sa business, ng statement of cash flows, and the date, which is the March 2019. So as what you observe, nakakategorize ang mga transactions based sa mga activities. So nalahi ang operating activities, investing activities, and the financing activities. So first we have the account receivable collected, which cost 200,000 pesos, and accounts payable payment cost 56,000 pesos, party event services collected 50,000 pesos, and miscellaneous expenses paid cost of 15,000 pesos. So since na ay duha ka account na ay duha ka na receive or na collected, so we have to add 200,000 pesos and the 50,000 pesos, which is ang account receivable collected og ang party event services collected. So 200 plus 50,000 pesos is 250,000 pesos. And after that, i-add na po natin ang account payable payment and miscellaneous expenses paid. Kaya kanan sila is nahog naman sila og mga bayranan. So 56,000 pesos plus 15,000 pesos is 71,000 pesos. So after that, i-subtract ang 250,000 pesos sa 71,000 pesos. So 250,000 pesos minus 71,000 pesos is 179,000 pesos. Sumuo na ang total nga kwarta sa operating activities. Next is ang cash flow provided from investing activities na pod. So purchase of printing machinery cost of 30,000 pesos. So i-set aside sa nata. And we have here the financing activities na investment of the owner cost of 200,000 pesos and the cash withdrawal by the owner cost of 20,000 pesos. So i-subtract nato ang investment of the owner sa cash withdrawal by the owner. So 200,000 pesos minus 20,000 pesos is 180,000 pesos. And we have here 179,000 pesos. I-subtract na pud nato ning 30,000 pesos kay nahog man ni og nagasto ni siya. And after that, i-add na pud nato ang 180,000 pesos. So 179,000 pesos minus 30,000 pesos plus 180,000 pesos is equals to 329,000 pesos. And naaman tay beginning cash balance. So sa kinaunhan pa ni nga operation or sa kinaunhan pa ni nga balance, so i-add pud ni nato siya sa increase in cash. So since we have 329,000 pesos, i-add nato ang 10,000 pesos in a total of 339,000 pesos. Sumauni ang ending cash balance sa Blue Wedding and Promises Statement of Cash Flows. So ang beginning cash balance mo ni ang balance sa kinaunhan pa or previous pa nga statement of cash flows. Previous nga balance mo ning gi-add ni siya ani. So that is the uses of direct method. So the transaction for wedding preparation services on account of 325,000 pesos and operating expenses on account of 128,000 pesos 500 are not included in the SCF of Blue Wedding and Promises. It is because those two transactions are still on account or on credit, and there are no cash inflows or outflows yet. So as what you've observed, na duha ka transaction nga wa na appeal. Ang 325,000 pesos o kaning 128,500 pesos. So wa ni sila na appeal tungod kay naa pa ni sila kaning duha ka transaction naa pa ni sila sa account or naa pa ni on credit. So wa pay nigawas or wa pay cash in o wa pay cash out anhin nila. That is why wa ni siya gi-include statement of cash flows. So that's about the direct method. So we have here the second method, which is the indirect method. So the indirect method used by companies that are use accrual method instead of cash method in their accounting system, simplifies and shortcuts the calculation of cash flows from operating activities, begins with the data on the net income or loss and uses non-cash items and the increases and decreases in the balance sheet line items to modify and reconcile the operational cash flows. So, ang indirect method is shortcut na ni siya sa calculation of cash flows. So, unlike sa direct method, nga identify pa nimo og lagi ka ng kwartaha o giasa na nimong kwartaha. So, kani siya, nag-start na ni siya with the data on the net income or total income sa inyong transactions. Dili na kay tagsa-tagsa pa. So, simplifies and shortcuts na ni siya sa pag-prepare sa statement of cash flows. Mas mapadali ang imong pag-calculate or pag-gama sa statement of cash flows. So, naatay modification to net income for indirect method. So, una, i-add o i-subtract ang to net income from mga non-cash nga mga activities. Sunod, change in asset account. And third, you have to change in liability accounts. So we have here the example of example situation that uses the indirect method. We have here Rita started a food delivery business, Food Haven, in May 2020. During the second quarter of the year, the entity had the following transactions. So these are the following transactions. We have 6 transactions here, and we have to examine how Rita prepared the statement of cash flow using the indirect method. She prepared only the cash flow from the operating portion of the statement. So ang ija ng gaman o cash flow ani isang operating portion ra sa statement. Now we have here the table for Food Haven, the statement of cash flows for the quarter ended June 2020. So as what you observe, cash flows from operating activities ra ang naa kay maura ni ang gaman nila og statement of cash flows. So we have here the net income of 200,000 pesos, adjustment for with the depreciation expense of 25,000 pesos, gain on sale of property and equipment cost of 100,000 pesos, decrease in trade and other receivables cost of 70,000 pesos. Okay, so ang 20,000 pesos mo na ang net income. So, to solve that table, mag-start ta sa net income. So, the first step is to write the net income. So, na-write na ang net income ng 200,000 pesos. This is the profit earned by the business. Step 2, we have to adjust the net income. Since net income is not the same as cash, we make adjustment. So, i-add natin ang depreciation expense, which is ang 25,000 pesos. So, 200 plus 25,000 pesos, cost of 225,000 pesos. So, nganong gi-add natin ang depreciation? So, depreciation is an expense that reduces net income but no cash was actually paid. So, mao na yung mga expenses nga nabayran na. Pero, i-add gihapon ni nato siya. Then, sunod, i-subtract nato ang gain on sale of property and equipment, which is ang 100,000 pesos. So, nganong i-subtract man ni nato? So, the gain increased net income, but it is not an operating activity. So, dili ni siya operating activity. So, nabilong ni siya sa investing activities. So, i-remove ni nato from operating cash flows. So, running total, 225,000 minus 100,000 equals 125,000 pesos. And after that, i-add nato ang decrease in trade and other receivables. Cost of 70,000 pesos. Ganun, i-add din nato. So, a decrease in receivables means customers paid cash that they previously owed. So, maon ni ang mga makuha pa ni mga kwarta nga bayaran sa mga customers that they previously owed. So running total, we have 125,000 pesos plus 70,000 pesos equals 195,000 pesos. So as what you observe, na ay 5,000 nga nalahian na. So it's because maon ni siya ang adjustment. So nahugra gyapon ni siya og gi-add ang 25,000 pesos og 70,000 pesos, then gi-minus sa 100,000 pesos maong nay 5,000 pesos. Then ang 200,000 pesos i-minus na pod ang 5,000 pesos in a total of 195,000 pesos, which is the net cash flow from operating activities. So mao na ang uses sa indirect method. Again, the two method is the direct method and the indirect method. So the direct method draws information from the cash accounts to present the net cash flow, while the indirect method starts with the net income and reconciles the operating section with non-cash items and increases or decreases in balance sheet accounts. So ang indirect method, nagsugod na siya sa net income and mag-operate gyapon ni siya sa mga ma-operate ni jag apil ang mga non-cash nga items. Pareha datong mga depreciation kato. So belong to siya sa indirect method. And that's our discussion is all about the preparing the statement of cash flows. Again, ang direct method draws information from the cash accounts to present the net cash flow. So, identify dyan na yung disagi ka ng kwartaha o giasa ng kwartaha and ang ilang net cash flow. While ang indirect starts with nag-start na siya sa net income, katong total income na, and reconciles the operating section with non-cash items. So, apil na pod ani ang mga non-cash items and increases decreases in balance sheet accounts. So, that's the difference between the two methods in preparing the statement of cash flows.